Hello and welcome to Golden Rest Guide. If you are over 70, or if you love someone who is, this message is especially for you. Life feels different at this stage. Time seems to move faster, the world around you keeps changing, and your own body gently reminds you every day that every choice matters more than ever. The truth is, life after 70 is no longer about simply adding more years. It's about adding more life to the years you still have. And that's why today's message is so important. I want to share with you 3 things you should never say, never do, and never go. Each one of these might seem small at first, but together they determine whether your later years are filled with joy and freedom or weighed down with regret and pain. Let's begin with the first. Never go where your spirit feels small. At this age, your energy is precious. You cannot afford to spend it in places that shrink your soul. Maybe it's a relative's home where you are constantly made to feel like a burden. Maybe it's a group of old friends who spend their time gossiping, complaining, and tearing others down. Or maybe it's a community you've been part of for decades, but every time you leave, you feel smaller, more doubtful, and more invisible than before. When you were younger, you might have endured it. You might have told yourself to keep the peace, to maintain appearances, or to stay out of obligation. But after 70, the cost is too high. Every visit to such a place is one of your limited days on Earth spent in misery, and you cannot buy those days back. Research even confirms this truth. Seniors who maintain uplifting, positive environments live longer, recover faster from illness, and experience better memory. That's because your surroundings shape your spirit, and your spirit in turn shapes your health. So before it's too late, make the choice to leave the places that steal your joy and instead walk into the places where you feel seen, valued, and alive. The second is this: never do what breaks your body just to please others. Think about it. You've already spent decades working, serving, carrying, lifting, and sacrificing. You have already paid your dues. Now is not the time to ignore your body's signals just because you are afraid of saying no. Maybe you still carry heavy bags because you don't want to bother your children. Maybe you stay on your feet for hours at family gatherings because you don't want to seem lazy. Or maybe you eat food that upsets your health simply because it was offered with love. But here is the truth. Your body is your only permanent home. If you damage it now, recovery is slower, harder, and sometimes even impossible. The people who truly love you will understand when you say no. And the ones who don't respect your limits should not be the ones deciding how you live. Please remember this: you are not a burden for protecting your health. You are wise. Every no you speak to something that harms you is actually a yes to more independence, more mornings without pain, and more days filled with laughter. And finally, the third lesson, the most important of them all: never say words that close the doors of life. At 70 and beyond, your words are powerful. They are not just sounds, they are declarations to your mind, your body, and your soul. When you say, "I'm too old for that," your brain believes you. When you whisper, "It's too late for me," your heart slows down its dreams. And when you repeat, "I can't," your body stops even trying. I have met people in their 90s who were still learning new skills, traveling to new countries, and starting new hobbies. They weren't superhuman. They didn't have more energy than others. The only difference was that they refused to speak words that limited them. The most dangerous prison you can build is the one you create with your own words. But here's the good news: you can also use your words to build freedom. Instead of saying, "I can't," try saying, "I'm willing to try." Instead of saying, "It's too late," say, "I still have time." Instead of saying, "My best days are behind me," say, "My best days can still be ahead." Science even supports this. Optimism strengthens your heart, boosts your immune system, and increases your lifespan. Your words are seeds, and every day you choose whether to plant flowers of possibility or weeds of defeat. Let me tell you a story that brings this all together. A few years ago, I met an 82-year-old woman named Margaret. For most of her life, she attended the same weekly group of friends. But each time she left, she felt smaller. The conversation was always the same: who was sick, who had failed, and who had disappointed them. One day, Margaret decided not to go back. Instead, she joined a community painting class for beginners. She hadn't painted since she was a child, On her first day, she whispered to herself, "I'm too old for this." But the teacher, a man in his 60s, overheard her. He smiled and said, "You're not too old. You're just in time." 3 years later, Margaret's paintings were hanging in her local library. With a smile, she told me, "I wish I had left that old group 20 years ago." And friends, that's the lesson. You don't need 20 years to make a change. You don't even need 20 months. You only need today. So let me ask you, of these three, which will you begin with? Will you leave the places where your soul feels small? Will you stop doing the things that break your body? Or will you start speaking words that give you life instead of taking it away? Whichever you choose, please don't wait, because time is not waiting. And now I want to hear from you. In the comments, share which of these three speaks to you the most right now. Is there one you wish you had learned earlier in life? Your words might just inspire someone else to take action before it's too late.